recording. I'm going to start recording. I should have started recording earlier, but it's recording now. So let me put the IntelliJ back up. And so now let's just use my shape example. Then you're going to say extends shape. And since we haven't put anything in the shape class, it doesn't need anything yet. Triangle extends shape. So then here, just in the chat, what are some attributes of shapes? We said sides, maybe this should be a double area, double perimeter. All right, and then you make your constructor. I think you guys learned about constructors last week or the week before. So that's just going to be public shape. And then it's going to need what is it? Oh, yeah. Okay. And now you'll notice that because we put these here, this is now saying that it needs a constructor. So we're going to create a constructor matching super. And what do we know about rectangles? Because we can then put a constant up here like private final int number of sides, and that's always going to be equal to 4. That area is, maybe we want the area to be able to change, so maybe that doesn't go in the, anyway, my point being that you so you can, so this way the rectangle is now specialized a little more. So the same thing works for methods. You can void, we'll just make the toString first. Well, actually that's a bad example, but what would we be able to do? Maybe we're able to double the area. And we're going to say area equals area times 2. That's also a bad example. What would, anyway, we talked, I can talk about the toString method, but so last week, I think Samuel talked a little bit about the toString method, which is actually being overridden because the one thing that it doesn't really show you here is that this extends object. So you don't need extends object there because it's implied, but object is where that toString is kept. It overrides it from, oh, that was not what I meant. Anyway, there. Now we're in object. And there's the original toString. The default thing for toString is to show you where it's located in the memory, which is not useful most of the time. So we are going to say that return this shape that I do has sides and an area of. Sorry if you can hear my dogs. So there we go. But then let's say for here, not here, back in rectangle, we actually want that to be now we want it to be this rectangle as and so this is basically allowing you to inherit different, I don't know what just happened, inherit different levels of the inherent methods from classes down. Let's see. So now that was a lot. Let me go, hold on a second. How come the overridden method doesn't need parameters? So as you can see here, there's no parameters here, so there doesn't have to be parameters here, so there doesn't have to be parameters here. If you had a method, what the heck? This method has parameters. And then here you could say here you could say instead of this, you could get rid of that. And oh, but that's not overridden anymore. But you could say 1 or something. So the overridden method's always going to have the same parameters as its number of parameters and types of parameters as the one that's the superclass. I was just looking. Okay, so I'm going to put up this now. So I want answers in the chat about how we might go about doing this. And please send your chats to everyone, ideally. So why can't I? Oh, I'm not signed in. I understand the problem. So let's see. So we have a class called banking account, and we're not going to be writing that class, but we know that it has a constructor, and it has two two methods called debit and credit, and we know that it has a get balance. And then we want to create a class that's called min max account that um, is that um, is gonna inherit everything from banking account, but then also remember the minimum and the maximum ever recorded. So, um, is this like something you guys would have done with Samuel, where you put the answers in the software robot channel? Okay, then how about we do something like that? And feel free to ask me questions, and I'll work on my answer while you guys are working on yours. So if you have questions, you can type them in the chat or you can speak. Either way is fine. if you're done, we have another thing. Hold on a second. I'm gonna. Do you guys still need the screen share up? Okay, yeah. Daniel just sent what I have up on the screen to everyone. So I'm gonna share. Oh, Daniel's gonna share something else for the time being. So Daniel just sent a um zip project, Java project in a zip file to Software Robot. If you download that and open it up, it'll have, and open it in IntelliJ, it's going to have two files, user and protected user. You're not going to touch the user class, and then you're going to do what it says in the Java doc for the protected user class. Once you get that up, it should look something like this. And let me, and I'm going to go review what you guys put in the chat. Uh, so it looks like 3 of you have put something in for the first problem. Do you guys have questions? So,
For whoever hasn't put it in yet, whatever you have, just put it into the thread right now because we're gonna go over it.
so, um, we have the, so we know that it's going to be a subclass of banking account because the instances can be used in place of a banking account object, and they have a new behavior, which indicates that it's going to be a subclass. And then, so what does that mean? It told us what the constructor needs to look like. So there's the constructor. It told us that it needs to have a get min method and a get max method. And then you're going to need to have some way of keeping track of what the minimum balance and the maximum balance are. And then when you call the constructor of a parent class, when you have a constructor in a subclass, you have to call the constructor of the superclass using the super keyword. And that has to be the first line of the constructor of the subclass. And then we're going to um, just set the min and the max to the current balance so that um, we know that any changes will be away from that. Then every time we do debit and credit, so these are being overridden from the um, parent class to add some functionality to it. Every time we do debit and credit, we're going to also do this update thing. So we're going to not only call the super classes method, we're also going to update it. So we're going to check the balance. We're going to say, is the balance less to what we knew the minimum balance to be? If it is, we're going to set it to the balance. Otherwise, if it's greater, we're going to set that to the balance and to the maximum balance. And as you can see, it works. Um, so that's how this works. Are there any questions? You can unmute yourself or put questions in the chat. And if that made sense to you, please put up a yes. Um, so I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna stick around for a few minutes if you have more questions. And if you guys want to do that, uh, the protected user thing on your own, you're welcome to. Um, we might talk more about that one on Wednesday. And that's it.